just led him to being on set, getting it done, having fun with the dialogue, and having scotch during takes.
Exactly. And again, he's what made this watchable.
Yes.
You know, you'd love to say that Rudy made it watchable, but he didn't. He was more of a prop in this.
And all right, so we're jumping ahead, guys. He gets into a fight with Josh. They get separated, and he's like, "I'm gonna go save my girlfriend and Stacy Keach." He doesn't even call her. Stacy's Keach name in this movie is Stacy Keach.
Right. Meg's dad.
Meg's dad, a.k.a. I have a note in here that says Bruce Campbell kind of tries. And then I also wrote most B-roll I've ever seen. And then I wrote poor Bruce.
Yes.
Like, my notes are I need a drink. I feel like he meant it.
So I have a note I have here, and tell me if you agree with this, but none of the shots in this movie give any sense of location or scope.
None. He could be... So when he's out looking at the plutonium, that could be 30 feet away from where the diner is.
Right. But even the last standoff where Bruce is talking to Samwise Gamgee, I don't know if they're a mile apart or 4 inches apart.
No, I have no idea.
Because they're never in the frame together.
All one shots. I'm telling you, Bruce is like, just film everything I have right here. And like, well, can we move around? No, we're doing everything by the bar. You lied to me. This is a shit show. A crap show. Crap shoot. And so he's like, I'm going to sit right here. And I am going to say this dialogue. You know what I mean?
And then I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah. I'm doing one shots only. Maybe one with Josh. Towards the end when Josh ducks out.
He says, "Get out of here. Everybody get out of here."
I think
they're outside. They're on a mountain.
I think he hated all of them. So he's like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, I don't think that was a line in the movie. I think he was just angry at the crew, and they filmed it.
I have one line in here that's all caps, and I wrote, "I think that was a real whiskey." And then I don't know why in my notes I wrote, "I'm serious."
Like you're convincing yourself.
Yeah, I kind of just want to release these notes. Ski bum that. All right, so... All right, I want to jump ahead. So
Do it.
Sean Astin's like, I'm going to save the day. But I'm telling you what, man, we're making fun of this movie, but it has personality. It
sure
really
does.
This is not a movie that, like, so I've watched movies where I feel nothing, right? And I just think they're made poor. I think this movie was made with love. I think people worked really hard on it. I think they thought they had a coup bringing in Bruce Campbell and Sean Astin. The car chase that they have, they really do wreck some cars, and they put some thought into that. The jet ski chase, that action scene is coherent, and you can...
You mean the snowmobile chase, not the jet ski chase.
Yeah, oh goodness. The snowmobile chase, it's coherent. So I think these people really... I think locals worked on this. I think they thought it was a big deal. So I'm not like hating on this movie.
And again, I think this is the best version of this movie that we can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because there's locals working on it, and that's where I keep going back to it. I sort of sound like a broken record, but I think people thought they were making a different kind of movie. Because, like, in the snowmobile chase, which is, like, exciting and it's dramatic and there's a snowboard involved and it's very James Bondy in its genesis. But there's a scene where Ranger's throwing things at Canadian girl, and it's almost like a scene from Airplane.
He throws Pez at her?
He throws Pez, and he throws, like, a very important black box at her, and, like, then finally something hits her in the head. Like, it's shot and like it's edited like it's a slapstick Leslie Nielsen bit.
Yeah.
Right? But
Pez is... Do you think Ant-Man and the Wasp stole that Pez thing this year? From
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But I'm telling you, that snowmobile chase... They filmed it.
No, and that's what got this into our conversation.
Yep.
Because I said this is the best snowmobile movie out there.
They filmed snowmobiles actually going in lines. And I think to a certain extent, they showcase why snowmobile action scenes are better than jet ski action scenes, because the lady blows up. Canadian woman blows up.
It does.
She explodes.
Yeah, she no longer exists.
And he does not care. The guy who kills her.
Well, no, and you know why he doesn't care?
Why?
Because he has a boy at home who he has broken so many promises to.
He does say that too, doesn't he?
In the middle of this, Sean Astin's like, I'm going to go save the day. And Park Ranger says, not me. I've got a single boy at home with no mom, and he's had a life full of broken promises. And Sean Astin says, "It's okay, you've done enough." And at which point he had done nothing.
Yeah.
But just
he
like
saves the day though. He takes a snowmobile.
but that moment is the moment from The Room where it's like, well, I have cancer.
Yep.
And it's never mentioned again. Like, we don't ever meet this son. He never hugs him at the end. What he does at the end is he gives a news reporter a headlock and puts her to sleep.
Yeah.
Just Barbara Beefcake style.
He's very
on the news.
He's overly confident in those interviews, and I don't like it.
I don't like his interviews, and I don't like Cliff's interviews.
Yeah, Cliff was saying, like, if terrorist comes, we're going to blow people up.
And he's like, we are going to ensure you have the best time. He's holding an M16.
So there's a time when Sean Astin walks in the beginning of this movie, and Cliff looks like he's going to fist fight him.
Yeah.
I mean, Cliff, the manager, is so angry at Sean Astin for being rakish. Who, actually, I think only Rufus Sewell can be called rakish, by the way. And he's amazing in Marvelous Miss Maisel Season 2. He's going to win an Emmy and a Golden Globe for, like, a special appearance on the show. But, so little
really?
rakish Sean Astin comes in, and he wants to fist fight him. Like, managers can't do that.
No, I want to say this. I think that Cliff is, at best, assistant manager material.
Yeah, at best.
At best.
He's not a leader.
But in the moment, so his resort is being taken over by terrorists with a nuclear weapon. That's happening.
Yeah.
Sean Astin calls him on the phone, and he's like, I'm on the mountain. I'm trying to save the day. Who's in charge there? And he starts yelling at Sean Astin. He's like, they're all dead because they're all chickens. And he's just like, he's so angry and nonsensical. I was like, what? This is bananas. And then somebody calls him, I forget who it was, but somebody I have written down here, someone calls him, that guy's a real Humpty Dumpty. Like, that's a line from the movie, is that guy's a real Humpty Dumpty. And I was like, that is crazy. And then he goes out, and you could tell he super loves Tilly. But he goes out, and he gets a gun, and he's like, that's it, I'm kicking it. And she says, what are you kicking, Clay? And he says, with all the seriousness in the world, he says, ass Tilly, ass. Like, he's been waiting for this moment all his life.
And then he kills a guy, and he goes, take that, you terrorist bastard. And then he goes, I want to kill more of those scumbags. He goes a murderous rampage. He sees the red mist.
Yeah, 100%. He sees whatever Sandra Bullock is trying not to see with her blindfold.
He has two of these lines. He has two of these lines that I love. We're going to kick it. We're going to kick ass. And then he goes, you're like those fluffy things that jump off the cliff and follow each other.
Oh, yes. The Lemmings line.
Yeah, the Lemmings. And then they're like, what? Like, those lines were written by somebody. Like, the guy who wrote this, the Giancola, the director, wrote those lines. 100%. Those are his, highlights.
He wrote this movie, right? Like, yeah. He wrote and directed this?
But, so you have scenes, right, where Bruce Campbell, there's a line of dialogue that I mean in here. I love when Bruce Campbell goes, the real monsters are the normal people, wearing fine suits and giving you a compliment. That's a Bruce Campbell on the spot line, right?
He also has a great, monologue at the end.
Yeah.
Where he talks about, freedom, and he just really goes out there. And I think that's where the whiskey was kicking in.
Because his eyes are bloodshot during some of these scenes. And maybe it's cold. Maybe he had allergies. Maybe it's really dry. And I don't know. Do your eyes get red when it's super dry out?
A little bit.
Yeah, maybe it was Visine, because, you get dryness there. Yep. So maybe, it could be extenuating circumstances, or it could be whiskey. So I think they just let him monologue on top of that house. Oh, wait.
Probably.
No. Oh, no. And then he also, he was monologuing to Sean Astin. Wait, so he had caught Matt, the ski bum, and then he told him about the people wear fine suits are the ones you got to look out for, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the later one comes when he's telling everyone to leave him, correct?
Right. But yeah, he also went on like mad rants when things weren't going his way. But if I asked you, Mark, tell me his plan in a perfect situation, could you do it?
Well, he just didn't want to deal with any more police machismo.
But he was like, call 911. We're way beyond this being about money.
All he had to do, they just had to find that case, right? And then if anybody, if Ski Bum Matt and the park ranger comes up to him, hey, we're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we're here on highly classified things, and they're working with the FBI already, right? Because, that was your fault in Santiago, well, I guess Chile.
That to me was like the Cleveland moment in Escape from New York.
Yeah, exactly. So they threw that in. So they have all they had to do was go stabilize that weapons grade plutonium. He didn't need to take over anything. And they didn't need to walk around the entire ski lodge because they knew where it was.
Right.
So this movie just happened because Bruce Campbell didn't want to leave the bar.
No, a lot of things came down to like Bruce is calling the shots here. Yeah. And again, Sean Astin had done Rudy and Goonies, but he wasn't. I'm going to say he had about 4 years doing Lord of the Rings movies where he was like, oh, this is a guy. But then he was like the comic relief on 50 First Dates.
Yeah, and Click.
So I don't think he's like the powerhouse that maybe his name lends itself to. So he's not calling the shots here.
No, and I think he took this role because, all right, so Mark Wahlberg got The Happening, and he took it because he said, when am I ever going to be able to play a science teacher, right? And I love The Happening. Yep. I think that movie, I think his plan was great. You should really listen to the podcast. Everybody, it's a good podcast about it. But he's like, I'll never. So this one, they're like, hey, you could be an action star. And I bet Sean Astin was like, hell yeah, I get to ride around on snowmobiles, and I get to have women pay for my burgers, my mountain burgers.
Mountain burgers.
I get to hang out with, Stacy Keach is going to be here. Great. Bruce Campbell. Wow, this is awesome. Do I get my own snowmobile? Sure. Can I ski half the day? Yeah. Like, I'd take that role.
Do you think he got paid in snowmobiles? Do you think it was like, we'll give you $10,000 and a snowmobile when we're done?
I mean, so obviously he lives in Washington, right? Because that's where the Goonies takes place.
Right.
So he's, they're L.A. and those semis that take all the cars. You see like 8 cars packed up on a thing.
Yep.
They had one of those with like 20 snowmobiles.
Right.
And maybe a jet ski.
Maybe a jet ski.
Because, it's on the coast. And and so they delivered all those to him just for pay. It's like Price is Right, right? Or no, it's Wheel of Fortune. No, Price is Right.
Wheel of Fortune. Yeah,
well,
Price is Right. The showdown.
Win this snowmobile. Like, that's what it was. They just brought them all to him. That was the payment. And they were all used.
Yeah, because they're all like film used.
Yeah, not new.
Yeah, because again, the car was from 96. The newest cars from 96. But those snowmobiles were all 95s.
Yeah.
And snowmobiles are much cheaper to buy than cars. So I guarantee they bought used snowmobiles for this movie.
Oh, except for the ones that they use in this movie, because they look pretty slick, didn't they? Didn't they use some pretty nice snowmobiles on screen?
They were nice snowmobiles on screen, but they weren't like they were 440s, which is a pretty big deal. Maybe then, but again, like at that point in time, I think like the 680 was like the top of the line. Like they looked good because Polaris always make things look good. And especially in like the mid 90s, they were kind of really hitting their stride for being what they were. Yeah, but I don't think they were like super impressive at the time. Like they weren't going to be the best in the showroom. I think they're exactly what a ski hill would have on site.
Well, so
a couple years old, mid-range machines.
I bet you one of their friends or someone at the ski lodge loaned those out.
They were probably the ski lodge's machines.
Yeah. What do you think? That makes sense, right?
That makes sense to me.
Oh man. Well, listen, let's sit on that for a little bit, because that's That's big news. So what we'll do is we'll sit on that for a little bit, and when we come back, I want to talk about a scene that's going to blow both of our minds. How's that sound?